Introduction. Welcome to an exploration of the ultimate human paradox. Every single day we navigate a world crowded with voices. We seek validation from strangers and comfort from friends. Yet we often find ourselves trapped by the expectations of society. This brings us to a profound philosophical realization. Heaven is me and hell is other people. This statement is not just a clever twist of words. It is a blueprint for psychological survival in the modern era. It speaks to the core of how we perceive our own value. It challenges the way we interact with the universe around us. To understand this deeply, we must look at how we lose ourselves and others. We spend our lives building an image for the world to see. We want people to admire our success and respect our choices. But in doing so, we give away our ultimate power. We allow external opinions to dictate our internal state of happiness. When people praise us, we feel like we are in heaven. When people criticize or reject us, we instantly drop into hell. This dependency is a dangerous way to live your life. It means your joy is always at the mercy of someone else. The philosophy we are discussing today changes this dynamic entirely. It forces you to turn your gaze inward. It demands that you locate the source of your peace within your own mind. You are the creator of your own emotional universe. If you rely on others to build your heaven, you will fail. They will build a prison instead. Let us embark on a journey to break those walls down. We will look at history and psychology to understand this reality. We will see how a French philosopher discovered this truth decades ago. Then we will apply it to your modern daily life. By the end of this audio experience, you will see yourself differently. You will realize that the keys to paradise have always been in your hands. The origin of hell is other people. To truly understand this concept, we must look back at history. In the middle of the 20th century, a philosopher named Jean-Paul Sartre shook the world. He was a leading figure in the movement known as Existentialism. Sartre wrote a famous play called No Exit. The story follows three dead souls who are locked in a room together. There are no torture devices or lakes of fire in this version of the afterlife. There are only 3 chairs and 3 people who cannot escape each other. As time passes, they begin to torture each other through psychological judgment. They analyze each other's flaws and expose each other's secrets. They look at each other with constant criticism and heavy expectations. At the very end of the play, one character delivers the famous line, "Hell is other people." People often misunderstand what Sartre actually meant by this. He did not mean that other human beings are inherently evil or malicious. He did not mean that we should all become hermits and live alone in caves. Sartre meant that other people are a mirror for our own existence. When someone looks at you, they form an opinion about who you are. They categorize you and judge your actions based on their own worldview. If you care too much about that judgment, you become their prisoner. You begin to see yourself only through their eyes. Your self-worth becomes entirely dependent on their validation. This is the true definition of hell. It is the state of living your life for an audience instead of for yourself. It is the agony of constant comparison and performance. In the play, the characters could not stop caring about what the others thought. They were trapped in a loop of trying to justify their past actions. They wanted approval from people they did not even like. This is exactly how many modern individuals live their lives today. We walk through life constantly worried about the gaze of the observer. We alter our behavior to fit into a mold that someone else created. Sartre wanted us to realize this trap so we could escape it. He wanted us to understand that the mirror of society can be distorting. If you let others define you, then you lose your personal freedom. You give up your right to determine your own destiny. The realization that hell is other people is the first step toward freedom. It is the awakening that allows you to see the chains around your mind. Once you see the chains, you can begin the work of breaking them. The flip side, heaven is me. Now let us look at the beautiful inversion of this philosophical concept. If hell is letting others define you, then heaven must be defining yourself. Heaven is me. This means that your internal world is a sanctuary of absolute freedom. No one can enter your mind and force you to feel a certain way. No one can change your core values unless you grant them permission. You are the absolute ruler of your own consciousness. When you realize this, a profound shift happens in your daily life. You stop looking outward for permission to be happy. You stop waiting for a compliment to feel attractive or capable. You become the source of your own validation and emotional security. Think about the immense power that comes with this realization. If your happiness comes from within, then no one can steal it from you. An economic crisis or a difficult boss cannot destroy your inner peace. A critical comment on the street cannot shake your self-confidence. You become like a fortress that is completely self-sustaining. This is not a philosophy of arrogance or extreme selfishness. It is a philosophy of radical self-responsibility and mental maturity. It means accepting that you are the only one responsible for your emotional state. Most people spend their energy trying to change the people around them. They want their partners to be more understanding and their friends to be more supportive. They want the world to behave perfectly so they can feel at peace. This is an impossible task because you can never control other people. The only thing you can ever truly control is your own reaction to them. When you accept that heaven is me, you stop trying to fix the world. Instead, you focus entirely on fixing your own internal state of mind. You build an unshakable foundation of self-respect and mental clarity. You create a mental space where you are completely at home with yourself. This internal heaven is always accessible to you at any moment. It does not require money or status or social approval to exist. It only requires your conscious decision to claim your own power. The tension between freedom and judgment. Living this philosophy is a constant daily practice. There is a natural tension between our desire for freedom and our fear of judgment. As human beings, we are wired to be social creatures. Our ancestors survived in tribes where being cast out meant certain death. Because of this biology, our brains are terrified of social disapproval. We feel a deep urge to conform and please the crowd around us. This creates a constant battle inside our minds every single day. One part of you wants to express your true thoughts and passions. Another part of you wants to stay safe by blending into the background. This tension can wear you down if you do not manage it consciously. Every time you choose conformity over authenticity, you experience a mini hell. You betray your own soul just to keep the peace with strangers. To build your internal heaven, you must learn to tolerate the discomfort of being judged. You must accept the fact that people will misunderstand your choices. Some people will dislike you simply because you refuse to follow their rules. Their disapproval is not a reflection of your worth as a person. It is merely a reflection of their own internal limitations and conditioning. When someone judges you, they are actually revealing their own values and fears. A person who is insecure will always try to bring others down to their level. A person who is afraid of freedom will resent your independence. Once you realize this, their judgment loses all of its power over you. You no longer view their criticism as a factual statement about your identity. You see it as a natural consequence of living an authentic life in a crowded world. This understanding allows you to detach from the opinions of the crowd. You can listen to feedback without letting it pierce your soul. You can walk through a storm of criticism while remaining completely calm inside. This is the ultimate expression of mental freedom and sovereignty. It is the moment where the external world stops controlling your internal weather. The modern trap of social media. Let us look at how this philosophy applies to our digital lives today. We live in an era where the gaze of other people has been digitized. Social media platforms are designed to maximize the illusion of external validation. Every like and comment is a tiny hit of dopamine for our brains. We are encouraged to broadcast our lives for a global audience. We post our best moments and our most beautiful photos. We share our achievements and wait for the digital crowd to applaud. This has turned the modern world into a massive version of Sartre's play. We are trapped in a digital room with millions of observers. We have voluntarily created a system where our self-worth is quantified by numbers. If a post gets hundreds of likes, we feel a surge of temporary heaven. If a post is ignored or criticized, we sink into a digital hell. This is a dangerous trap that is ruining the mental health of millions. We are spending our precious energy building an image instead of a life. We care more about how our vacation looks than how it actually feels. We edit our thoughts to fit the current algorithm of political correctness. We become actors performing a script written by the expectations of society. This is the exact opposite of the philosophy we are discussing. To escape this digital hell, you must reclaim your internal sovereignty. You must remember that your worth cannot be measured by a digital metric. An algorithm cannot calculate the depth of your soul or the beauty of your mind. You need to practice detaching your emotions from the online crowd. Consider taking regular breaks from broadcasting your private existence. Live experiences purely for the sake of living them. Enjoy a beautiful sunset without taking a photo to prove you were there. Have a deep conversation without sharing a quote online. Keep some parts of your life completely sacred and private. When you do this, you reclaim the energy that you were wasting on the audience. You bring that energy back inside to feed your own internal heaven. Practical application for the modern person. How do we actually practice this philosophy in our everyday lives? It starts with changing the way you start your morning. Most people wake up and immediately reach for their smartphones. They check messages and emails and news feeds within seconds of opening their eyes. By doing this, they let the noise of the world flood their minds instantly. They start their day by reacting to other people instead of connecting with themselves. To build an internal heaven, you must create a morning ritual of solitude. Spend the first 30 minutes of your day completely alone with your thoughts. Meditate or write in a journal or simply drink your coffee in total silence. Use this time to anchor yourself in your own energy and intentions. Decide how you want to feel today regardless of what happens outside. This creates a protective shield around your mind for the rest of the day. When you encounter difficult people at work, apply the mirror technique. Remind yourself that their anger or negativity belongs entirely to them. It is a projection of their internal state and has nothing to do with you. Do not absorb their energy or try to defend your ego. Simply observe their behavior with calm detachment and move on. Another practical step is to learn the art of saying no without guilt. Many people are chronic people pleasers who say yes to every request. They overcommit their time and energy because they fear disappointing others. Every time you say yes to someone else when you want to say no, you create hell. You sacrifice your own peace to avoid a temporary moment of social awkwardness. Start prioritizing your own mental and physical well-being. Your time on this earth is limited and precious. Protect it like the valuable resource that it is. Saying no to others is often the ultimate way of saying yes to yourself. Setting boundaries without isolation. A common misunderstanding is that this philosophy leads to loneliness. People assume that if heaven is me, then we should avoid relationships completely. This is a false assumption that leads to an empty life. The goal is not to isolate yourself from humanity. The goal is to change the way you connect with humanity. When you do not need people for validation, you can love them for who they are. You stop using relationships as a tool to fill your own internal emptiness. Instead, you enter relationships as a complete and whole individual. This allows you to create deep connections based on freedom instead of dependency. To achieve this, you must set clear and healthy boundaries. Boundaries are not walls to keep people out of your life. Boundaries are the rules that define how people can treat you. They show people where your personal space begins and ends. Clearly communicate what behavior you will accept and what you will not. If someone repeatedly crosses your boundaries, you must distance yourself from them. You do not owe anyone your energy or your sanity. Surround yourself with people who respect your individuality and freedom. Choose friends who do not demand that you conform to their expectations. Look for companions who celebrate your authenticity instead of trying to change you. When you find these people, your external world aligns with your internal heaven. But remember that even the best relationship cannot replace your self-reliance. Your partner can walk beside you, but they cannot carry your soul. You must always remain the primary caretaker of your own happiness. The freedom of accountability. Embracing this philosophy requires a high level of personal courage. It is much easier to blame other people for your misery. It is comforting to say that your boss made you angry or your ex ruined your life. Blaming others makes you feel like an innocent victim of circumstances. But being a victim means you have absolutely no power to change your situation. If other people are the cause of your hell, then they hold the keys to your exit. You are forced to wait for them to change before you can feel better. This is a miserable and hopeless way to live. When you accept that heaven is me, you take full accountability for your life. You realize that while you cannot control events, you always control your response. If a situation is toxic, you have the power to walk away from it. If a relationship is draining, you have the power to change its dynamic. If your thoughts are negative, you have the power to retrain your mind. This realization can be terrifying at first because there is no one left to blame. You cannot blame your parents or your culture or your economic situation. You are the sole author of your current reality and your future destiny. But once the terror passes, a sense of immense freedom takes its place. You realize that if you created your own limitations, you can also destroy them. You are no longer waiting for the world to save you. You become your own savior and your own protector. This is the moment of true psychological adulthood. It is the birth of an unshakable inner strength that will guide you through any storm. The power of radical self-acceptance. The ultimate key to creating an internal heaven is radical self-acceptance. Most of our internal suffering comes from the war we wage against ourselves. We look in the mirror and criticize our physical appearance. We look at our past and judge our mistakes with harsh regret. We compare our progress to the achievements of our peers and feel inadequate. This internal critic is the voice of society living inside your own head. It is the internalized judgment of parents, teachers, and media. To silence this critic, you must practice unconditional self-acceptance. Accept every single part of who you are at this exact moment. Accept your flaws, your fears, your quirks, and your past failures. Understand that your mistakes were necessary steps in your evolution. They do not define your worth as a human being. You do not need to be perfect to deserve your own love and respect. Stop waiting until you lose weight or get a promotion to be proud of yourself. Be proud of yourself right now for having the courage to exist and grow. When you accept yourself completely, the judgment of others loses all its power. If someone points out a flaw that you have already accepted, it cannot hurt you. You simply smile and acknowledge the truth without any emotional pain. You become immune to the insults and expectations of the world. This is the highest state of emotional security a human can achieve. It is the true realization of the philosophy we have explored today. Conclusion: mastering the mirror. As we bring this audio journey to a close, let us review the path we traveled. We started with the realization that the world can easily become a psychological hell. If you let others define your worth, you become a prisoner of their expectations. We looked at how Jean-Paul Sartre exposed this truth in his famous work. Then we discovered the ultimate solution, which is to turn your gaze inward. Heaven is me. Your mind is a sacred space that belongs entirely to you. You have the power to build a sanctuary of peace within your own consciousness. We explored how this applies to the digital trap of modern social media. We discussed practical steps to reclaim your time, energy, and mental focus. We learned how to set healthy boundaries and take full accountability for our lives. And finally, we saw the power of radical self-acceptance in destroying external judgment. Now the choice is entirely in your hands as you return to your daily routine. The world will continue to be loud, crowded, and full of opinions. People will continue to judge, criticize, and demand your conformity. But you do not have to participate in their drama any longer. You can choose to step out of their theater and live your own truth. Every time you feel stressed or insecure, take a deep breath and go inward. Remind yourself of the ultimate truth of your existence. You are the creator of your own emotional reality. You hold the keys to your own paradise. Never give that power away to an audience of strangers. Master the mirror of society by refusing to let it distort your soul. Live your life from the inside out with courage, clarity, and absolute freedom. Heaven is me, and it is waiting for you right now.